Um, I'm not gonna, don't worry. We're really glad you're all here, and we're asking for you to engage with us on this work and to support this work. We need your engagement and we need your support. We call it time and treasure. That's the language I use, time and treasure. And this work doesn't get done without that. And we had two people today who I talked to who reached out to me who are supporters and have been involved with Common Power. And they both have requested anonymity, so I won't name their names. But we had two people that together have made a donation tonight that they've asked to be a match to start tonight. Okay. And so we start tonight with $30,000 in a match. Okay. $30,000 because people have stepped forward. And I want to be honest with you, that's a lot of money. And it also is not enough for us to do all of our work. But tonight, we're hoping to hit that number and beyond. All right. So I will see you again later in this program. Thank you all so much. I'm going to toss it back now to our community and donor relations manager, Maria.
Oh, thank you so much, David. I love getting a chance to hear it because for those of you who don't know me, my name is Maria, and I've been a part of the Common Power community since 2018 and came on staff in 2019 as development manager. But as I've been growing and as I've been able to have the opportunity to do here at Common Power, I've been able to expand a little bit more on some of my strengths and step into that community and donor relations manager space. And it feels really good. And I'm feeling really comfortable with it. So I love to hear you say it as well, David. Thank you. So we've got a lot going on tonight. I do want to just taking care of this straight away. If you do have any questions, feel free to put those into the chat at any point. We are going to wait until the end of the program to address those questions, but it's helpful to have them on the chat, especially if you might forget it a little bit later on. So if you've got questions, just go ahead and put them in the chat. We're gonna take you through the program today in a structure that a lot of folks are gonna be familiar with. And the person that's gonna introduce a little bit of that structure to you and talk to you about some of our successes with CP is Charles Douglas III, who you've seen a little bit tonight, but is here today, and he's gonna get us started.
Thank you. I wasn't going to start with this, but I had assumed that David or Maria would reference this. But I got to bring in the words of my new favorite poet, everyone's new favorite poet. And this is some of what I'm going to be referencing. And I'm not going to read it like her, but we need to hear parts of this again. We will not march back to what was, but move to what, thank you, Paula, for the picture, but move to what shall be. A country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free. We will not be turned around or interrupted by intimidation, because we know our inaction and inertia will be the inheritance of the next generation. That speech for me was so much of what I feel about this country, so much of what I feel like we've been living and fighting for at CP. The way she said it, who she was, it's the America that we're fighting for. And I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to walk you through some slides, but I want you to keep that in mind, the America that we're fighting for. The thing that we said that we were fighting for when we all embarked on this. I want us to think about that as I'm talking. I'm going to say a bunch of stuff that may go over your head. You may disagree with part of it, but remember why you decided to do this work and why you decided to join CP and what it was compelling about this organization to you. And then we're going to get to the end and see if we can meet each other. Okay, can you see my screen? Is that small? Is it a small window or is it big? David?
Small.
Is it?
It's kind of small, but it's big enough, Charles. It's big enough. Yep.
It's big enough?
Yep.
Okay. Is that better?
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. I want to show this picture because I want to level set myself in this.
Yeah.
And the organization. This is CP, Common Purpose at the time, March 3rd, 2018, really early in the morning, too early for people like me. This is a picture that I took from my vantage point, and this is the very first meeting. Those are all the leads up front. There's some people there that are still leads in this organization. Maria Bando was a team lead. David Domke is over there on the right, stroking his chin there and taking a read to the room. AJ Musewe there is in the middle. And I reference this picture because I joined an organization that was defining what it was. And it wasn't something that I decided. It was something that this community decided, how they would work, where we would do work. The teams that we formed, when we traveled to certain parts of the country, the community decided what was important. Young leaders at the front. The community is largely white, as is Seattle. But this group, along with David, decided that the next generation of leaders needed to be at the forefront and they needed to be diverse. I joined this as something that we all agreed upon. And so when I decided to lead Wisconsin, it was with this at the fore. It was that these people would be the leaders and that we would change this country and we would defeat Donald Trump. We would flip states blue in 2018 in the midterms. And I took it and ran with it. Now, David didn't think that we would go and directly work with Tammy Baldwin, senator in Wisconsin. And I think that changed a lot of things in the background of CP. A direct connection to somebody who was an elected official. But I took seriously the charge that was given to me, which was, we're here to flip these states blue. We're here to flip them, I think is the verbiage that you said. And to me, it was only one direction, flip them blue. These are the common power circles. This is what we have talked about from the intro workshop that welcomed many of you into our community, referenced again all the way through to the Georgia phone banks that we just did. We referenced these principles: mindset, mojo, and mobilize. And some of you saw me at these events and my mention of these principles. Maria's talked about it as well. We're serious about these. This is why we do what we do. This is what brought many of you here, is our adherence to these principles. And I'm coming to you today to tell you that in 2021, I'm taking this as something that we all agreed on. This is what we're about. And the leadership in this organization is going to move forward with these principles at the forefront. We all believe in a just and inclusive democracy for sure, and that we need to take action. But we also believe in doing it in community and in prioritizing next generation leaders as we mobilize, as we move forward to change this country. So I'm holding us to task on that. We've seen a lot of success. And this is one where I'm going to ask everybody to unmute yourself and clap, please, applause each other. Biden-Harris, we flipped the Senate, we protected the House. Help next generation leaders, operations and partnerships across 25 states, 1,000 plus active volunteers, and 1,000 plus donors. That's pretty dang good. That is exciting stuff. You can see all of it and more on our wins page if you go to our website. And if you want to look at even more stuff about what happened all the way up to the election on November 3rd, you can go to our Impact tab. It's all on our website. You can celebrate with yourself. You can dig into each individual state. We worked in more states than just 25, but it was a ton of success that we saw using this formula, prioritizing those 3 M's that I just showed you. This work works. The way that we do it works. So how did we get there? Well, it took money. Part of that was money. It took a lot of mindset and mojo, but to really mobilize people, it took dollars to hire the staff to be able to move in that direction. So this is our budget. This is a fundraising event. So I want to be super clear about what it takes to run this. What did it take to achieve that success? It takes dollars that grow over time. It took a big jump, 1.4 million in 2020, to activate teams across 20 plus states, to employ staff that could do this work full time, to pay stipends to 60 plus college age students that were doing this work with us. What's it going to take in 2021? Well, it'll take a little less of a jump, but it's growing because our dreams are bigger. Now, one thing I want to tell you is that we are not at risk of closing. This is not a plea for help. We are doing really, really well. And we want to get ready for the backlash that's going to happen in 2022. We want to get ready for holding people accountable. And to do that, we're going to do a little bit of stretching. Let me give you some more insight here. Our funding roughly breaks down. Private donations is the biggest part. What we're asking you for, that is what we're funded by. We've got some money that comes in through foundations, and then some money that comes in through lectures and tours. David just did a couple lectures. Some people were wondering why that costs money. Well, that dollars goes towards the work that we're doing. But by and large, private donations. Where does it go? Where should it go? It goes towards the things that we're prioritizing. We need staff, we need next generation leaders, and that takes an investment. It takes dollars to take somebody who should be working at a marketing firm, Wale, and to convince him to come and work for voters. That's what these dollars goes to. It goes to getting people who are on track to graduate and go work for consulting firms, and instead decide that they want to give back to their country. That's where these dollars go. So in 2021, what is our plan? Our plan is to stay true to these principles. Our plan is to lean into community and next generation leaders in order to register and catalyze voters and reach out to partner organizations. That's what it's going to take. Now I'm going to break that down a little bit further. David, I'm going longer. Just want to let you know.
Okay.
Okay. We've got communities. This is another tab on our website. You can see it at the very top. We've got these 3 distinct communities that maybe you don't know a ton about. What you know right now is Common Power. You know that it's just one organization, and that's fine. Within Common Power, there are these 2 other pieces. What you saw a lot of towards the end was CP Future. You saw a lot of these college kids that took this, they're adults, these college students that took our course that taught them about mojo, taught them about mobilization, and activated them through education. To that first part, mindset. What you didn't see a ton of maybe is CP Next, and that's that age range, that's life stage of folks they've got careers, they've got families. And what I'm going to show you here is detail around how we're going to grow over 2021, which programs we're going to launch, which programs we're going to grow, how we're going to reach out and make our community more diverse, how we're going to attract more young people, and how we're going to get ready for 2022 and 2024. We think that mindset and education is how people reach us. One of the things that I learned about CP early on is that the reason why that room, that first picture, was filled with people is because there's one David Domke who gives a pretty damn good lecture. And he had mobilized people through education, through these lectures, this mindset, that first circle, and gotten them to understand that we needed a more just and inclusive democracy. And then to make it so, we have to take action. So that piece we're expanding on. You can see over here in CP Now, it's David's lectures and then AJ's lectures, which some of you have attended this last year. We're going to do a ton more than that, and you're going to hear from AJ. How do we reach these folks in CP Next in that life stage? The folks that are maybe in the Black and African communities here in Seattle that you don't see a lot of in our community. Maybe in the Latinx community here in Seattle and King County. The folks that largely are online right now because we're all quarantined. Well, CP Next has got ideas around that. Wale, MJ, Betty, they're going to speak to that. You've heard a lot about CP Future. That is completely run by Larcy, and she's going to talk more about what the plans are for that here. All of that is getting folks' mindset ready to do the work. What is essential to keeping this work together is the mojo. It is the community, and it's the next generation leaders. On the CP Now side, on the part that you see the most of, you're going to see team leads that are from the CP Future cohorts that have graduated up out of that and are now ready to lead our teams. You're also going to see Mojo Mondays. Our first Mojo Monday is this Monday, and Maria Bando's leading those. She's going to be leading those weekly, and she's going to be doing a lot more stuff that's focused on community, because that is the glue that keeps us together. You may come for the work, but you stay for the people. On the CP Next side, Daniel has this great idea that's an action fund that is our bet in mobilizing a lot of the donor level folks that are at the millennial age, the people who work for Amazon and Google and Facebook here in Seattle, at Starbucks, other corporate headquarters. How do we get them into the fold? How do we get them involved? Well, we're going to bring them in as donors first. And then, of course, over in Mojo on the CP Future side, they do really well. We're going to add mentoring to that. We'll be reaching out to some folks that are in the CP Now and CP Next communities and asking them to come and mentor some of the young folks over there. And then Larcy's already kicked off her internships. Finally, mobilize. Now, you know about the teams on the CP Now side and the CP side. There are squads on the CP Next side, and there are crews on the CP Future side. All of these are ways that we all mobilize at different stages in our life. And we'll be talking more about that over a length of time. You're not going to hear about that today, but just know that we are reaching out to these distinct communities and activating them in very distinct ways. And finally, there's the support that underlies every single successful organization. I'm not sure many of you know, but we are 3 distinct financial entities. And all of that would collapse were it not for Vanna and Bert, who help us make sure that we do it the right way. So the names in yellow are highlighted because you're going to hear from these people tonight. It's important that we highlight the work that they do in all of them here so that they're not left behind, because these are the people that we're investing in. Okay, David, I'm almost done. The last part, and we've gotten some feedback about this, but we need you all to understand the context that we have been working in as a staff. Election day was November 3rd. We all understand that. What folks don't know maybe is that we've been on break. We went through the election of our lifetimes, and I'm telling you that it wasn't without its toll on some of the young leaders that you see here. It cost them something. And so we gave them a much needed break. What that meant was that we weren't spinning up new ideas during this time. I need to stress this to you. Give us time, because we've got some good ideas that we're working on, but we got to build them. We got to launch them. So we're just coming back from break. We're going to do some hiring over the next couple weeks. Some individuals that you will know and recognize, some that you don't, are going to help us launch into this next post-2020 phase with some success. And then we're going to do some heavy strategic planning for the next couple months. The last thing is that there's going to be a new executive director in April, and I'm so happy to take that on. Does not happen until April, though. I want to let everyone understand that. David and I are still running the ship today, and for a while, So I'll be taking feedback from people. I'll be getting ready for this, and I can't wait for it. It's going to be, if it's going to feel like a whole new life. So I'm going to leave you with this again, and it feels like I'm hitting you over the head with this over and over again. You need to understand how serious we are about this. This is what we're about. This is how we operate. These are the things that are important to us. Nothing happens at CP without these three pieces attached to them. Okay. We good? David, did I leave anything out?
No, I think we're good. And I think we'll be able to continue to fill in and expand on everything as we go. But I love that. And I love the new graphics. I had a little trouble seeing them, but I'm sure I'll be seeing them more again.
Okay. Sorry about that.
All right. So Charles has teed us up really well for the format in which we're going to be getting to meet a lot of the folks on our team today, or if you already know them, getting to hear a little bit more about the work that they're doing. And so to start off, we're going to start in that mindset space, and we're going to hear from a couple of the staff members who do a lot of work primarily in that space, and that's Larcy and AJ. So Larcy and AJ, I'm going to pass it to you.
Thanks, Maria. AJ, do you want to do like a live rock, paper, scissors to see who wants to go first?
I'm so game. You ready?
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
1, 2, 3. Did you
Hey,
do
okay, one more.
1, 2, 3.
Wait, I don't remember. Does Brock? Wait, okay. Anyway.
Yeah, rock, paper, you
I'll
go first.
So welcome everybody. It's really good to see a lot of you. I know that there's been, going on break and stuff, and then what happened with Georgia and everything, I got to see a lot of you, interacted with a lot of you, via email, if you were doing stuff with us and for Georgia, and then also everything else that happened for the elections. But thank you for just like coming in anytime we want to have community with all of you. So Action Academy, my goodness, other than birthing a child in 2020, I'd have to say that was probably the second highlight of my of the year. It was the success of it all was absolutely beyond what we were able to put together in less than 2 months. With help from Kylie and Layla and Asha and Mina and just some amazing people who contributed to brainstorming and to getting the program up and running. It was just, to me, was a scramble, but with the faith in each other and the trust that this is the goal that we wanted to do, was to recruit as many individuals as we can to do something for 2020. We did it. So 62 students, just some quick stats. We had 62 students in the program across 19 different universities in 6 different states. And I cannot not do anything about that. So I am happy to say that I've already started into getting our 2021 spring cohort planned. I already have my interns lined up. We just started our planning session today, what that looks like. And I feel like wanted to kind of ride the energy and trying to make it more woman focused for this particular cohort. So lots of things that we can improve on, definitely for the program, but I can't wait to do it again. And I think that's where the excitement is for me in kind of inviting new faces and inviting new individuals to that space and seeing how we can sustain CP Future, how it's going to grow these next few months, and what we're going to, what we get to do for 2021. So stay tuned. If you have anybody who's a college age student in your life and you feel like could also benefit from this work, they stay. The people who are in the internship right now are people who graduated from the program. So That's one thing that we want to do, is to give them that bug. And it's the only bug I want to give them this year. Give them that political organizing bug, right? And let that be the only thing that's infectious among young people. So if you know of anybody out there, this is a recruiting plug, totally send them my way. I want to do this. This is so exciting. And especially all of the successes we had for 2020, we have to keep it going.
I feel like I should have gone first, but awesome. Thanks for that, Tia Larcy. So for the folks who don't know me, my name is AJ. I am unofficially a historical scavenger hunter, and my work in CP is really around uncovering certain parts of history, both known and unknown stories in history that help us kind of figure out how we can move forward as a country by understanding where we've been. Most of us have gone through the public education system and even the private education system, and things haven't always been told to us in the most truthful manner. And so the whole point of the programs that we have in this space, as far as the ones that I run, is really about uncovering a lot of the information that we weren't able to get in just like a plain fact-based manner. This is not a bias space, not trying to convince you of anything, just trying to give you facts so that you're able to understand the systems that are in play and how civics kind of ties into everything. So while David is our political guru, I would say I'm kind of the person who digs through certain aspects of history. And that is done through 3 programs that I currently am running, or one that's about to start. So the first 2, some folks may be familiar with. I'll be continuing Lunch and Learns. And so there's the idea that we have book clubs. I personally really like book clubs, but I read too fast. On a easy week, I can read 2 or 3 books in a week. And so book clubs sometimes move a little slower for me. And also, we have to be really mindful of folks that maybe are neurodiverse. And so reading a book can be really difficult to like concentrate on. And so Lunch and Learns are a space where we use articles to dig into certain aspects of history. It's a digestible piece, kind of a way to get information. And then we have going to breakout groups when we do meet, and people have conversations based on questions that I kind of help, I come up with to help guide the conversation. So those are Lunch and Learns. They're once or twice a month. And then there's a program called Special Sessions. Now, Special Sessions are usually a kind of offshoot of Lunch and Learns. And most of the time there's a guest. A lot of times it's either myself and a guest, and the guest has typically been Dr. Terry Ann Scott, who is a professor out at Hood College in Maryland. And one time it was Charles, because Charles made me do one that was during the break. And so I said, if I have to do it, then he has to do it with me. But special sessions are a space for us to interact with certain guests who are really knowledgeable about specific topics, or they are for us to dig a little deeper into special moments in history that kind of fall within that month's space. Now, a new program that we're going to be introducing is called AJ and Dr. Scott Presents. So a couple of the special sessions that I did with Dr. Scott, folks got really excited about them, and randomly in the chats would say, you guys should have like a history one-on-one class. And jokingly, I'd been telling Dr. Scott that I wanted to be her TA, but that means I'd have to move to Maryland to then join Hood College, and that's not happening. It snows there, and I don't like snow. So we decided to create basically a history one-on-one course. It will mimic a college course. There are about 4 sections, which we will travel from the transatlantic slave trade all the way to the modern civil rights movement in the 60s, through the death of Dr. Martin Luther King in 1968. Part of the reason I'm wearing an elect Fannie Lou Hamer sweater is, 1, because we have a Black woman VP, and also Fannie Lou Hamer is one of the people that we'll be studying. If you don't know who Fannie Lou Hamer is, 1, Google it, and 2, come to one of the sessions and we'll be talking about her. So as we are planning these sessions with Dr. Scott, we do have an education listserv that folks can sign up for. So if you just go to the commonpower.org/education, you can sign up for email updates of when these sessions are going to be going live. The first Lunch and Learn is going to be on February 10th, and the first Dr. Scott and AJ lecture will be on February 17th. I believe. And so those will be held every other month. But again, all of that information will come to you once the sessions go live. But that's that's what I'm excited for this year. It's kind of a little intimidating to be doing something with a fully established history professor, and Dr. Scott is absolutely a badass. Mom, if you're in the space, sorry, but that was warranted. Dr. Scott is absolutely epic, and that information on her kind of bio will also be available as the website goes live. And if folks have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. But it's going to be really exciting to expand this kind of education space that CP is as far as kind of our mindset. But yeah, if folks have any questions, please feel free to let me know.
All right. Thanks so much, AJ. So we're moving now from mindset, thinking about, how we got here, and moving now a little bit into the space that often keeps a lot of people here, right? That mojo that we're doing things together in community and in teams, and that we're doing it in support of the next generation of leaders. So to talk to us a little bit about their work in that space, I would like to pass off to MJ and to Daniel and Wale.
I don't know who wants to start. I think I can start. Hi everyone. Like, who wants to start? I'll start. Hi everyone. It's so great to see so many familiar faces. I am really excited to start this new year with my colleagues and of course the community. But one particular thing that I'm definitely really excited about to continue is Poder Común. For those of you who are not familiar, Poder Común is a team, an amazing program that was birthed in 2020 because of a trip that I did to Florida. I was the co-lead for the state for the Florida State team, and very proudly for my Florida teammates on this call. Shout out to all of you and the amazing work that we did. But particularly Poder Común is a Spanish-speaking team that was birthed in 2020 because of my personal just trying to understand, right, the suppression of my community in voting, and so voting rights for my community. And just thinking back now, it was really honestly something that was birthed with so naturally, and it came to be because of the people who were asking for it as well. The community, the importance of how much power there is in uplifting communities like the Latinx community, brown and Black communities, and just also, I mean, doing this morally, because I understand what my community is going through, what they went through in the administration, the past administration. And I think right now we're very hopeful that things will change in our community. And I think that's what motivates me the most now. The Latino community is a very fast growing community. And right now we're like 32 million eligible voters, who are 13% of the country, and that of eligible voters, and that is something that you can already say, like, tell it's like a big thing, and we can make such an impact in future elections. There's so many mobilizations going on throughout the country with the Latinx community, and I want to make sure that we can be part of that that movement. And right now I have 5 incredible young women who are working with me side to side to create accessible information for our community here in Washington. And we've also been able to share these in Florida. We did some videos to make sure that the language access is there. Language accessibility is tremendously important in mobilizing people in that community, in the Latinx community. A lot of the times, the information that is given is not accessible, and that's exactly why people haven't been able to vote in the past. Of course, there's also that requirement of citizenship, which is now a hope that is coming into this administration that is moving. And I think that itself, if you think about it, there's going to be every year in the United States, there will be 1 million new 18-year-olds every year for the next 2 decades who can vote. And so that will be impactful in so many ways. And so what I'm trying to do here in Poder Común, Common Power Poder Común, is to elevate those voices, to say, hey, come do this work with us, because your voice matters, and the voice of your family members, the voice of your community matter. And in this space that I'm hoping to create with my colleagues and the people that I'm working with, you know, my team who couldn't be here today, but definitely represented in this work, is tremendously important for me. And in the past, we've worked in Arizona and Texas and Florida, and we've made an impact. In Florida, for sure, made an impact. We came into contact with about 15,000 people, thanks to amazing volunteers who might be on this call. I saw some faces who would call and make sure that these people had that access that I'm talking about. And I'm looking forward to continue to work in those three elements: the community, education, and language access for my community. And I invite you all to kind of check out, I don't know if there's something on the website specifically for Poder Común, but I know there will be in the future, and that we will be able to connect in that way. I'm really excited to continue the work and hope that, you know, that others will join me in doing that. Of course, like I mentioned, this is something very close to my heart because it is my community, but I also know that there's generations of young people who have been waiting for this moment, who've been waiting for a call to join something this important, to be able to uplift their voices. And with this administration, I'm very hopeful. I mean, there's already things that have been signed to make sure that those people are safe, and that the people, the immigrants who are coming in or who have been here for a long time, are deserving of their right to vote. And so I'm hopeful that the work that we're going to do is going to impact those people and impact the country after they vote. So thank you all so much for your time, for the commitment to our work, to my specific work, and to the work of my colleagues. I hope to see you around. And yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at mj@commonpower.org. I'm always really excited to talk about the work that I do. Thank you.
Thanks, MJ.
Yeah.
I'll jump in, and then Daniel can wrap us up. But hey, everyone, my name is Wale Akinlosotu. I've been working with Common Power for the past year, and so this year we're definitely changing gears, and I'm stepping more into the community aspect of CP Next. And with that, we have a new program that we're putting together that's a direct inspiration from the work that Larcy and Kylie and the rest of the CP Future have done with the Action Academy program that they put together. And so for us, we're putting together Next Up for the CP Next community. And this directly is for millennials, building a cohort of millennials that are able to gain the skills, the knowledge, and the necessary network that it takes to make change in their community. So with Next Up, we want to focus specifically on the intersection of civics and grassroots organizing. And that is something that I chose to focus on based on what happened last year during the summer of last year with the Black liberation movements that happened over the summer, starting with kind of kicking off with the death of George Floyd. And I think that summer was different. It was different for me, but I think it was different for all of us in the sense that we haven't seen so much energy being put into one movement and sustained marches for over 100 days, every single day. I've never seen anything like that. And I know it's definitely something that hasn't happened in our recent history the way it happened over the summer. And so once all of that kind of cooled down towards the end of summer and you stop seeing people in the streets, you stop seeing your timelines being inundated with just tons of information from the Black Lives Matter movement, you started to see a lot of the energy being transferred into politics and changing policy. A lot of the energy went from the streets to the power that community organizations had built over years, and seeing their work with politicians, with writing policy and trying to change from the issues that the Black community was seeing from a policy standpoint, from a standpoint that couldn't have been achieved without the energy of those thousands of people marching every single day. And so I saw that disconnect. I saw that gap between marching in the streets and the policy work. And not a lot of people are able to be a part of that work because they don't know about it, because they're not educated about it. So I wanted this cohort or this program to specifically focus on the intersection of civics and community organizing, and how they both need each other, and what that actually looks like. When we see politicians that aren't rooted in their community, we can see how they move in a sort of spineless manner. They say one thing, but they don't do they don't stick to their word. And so I think it's the same thing with community organizing. A lot of progress is made when organizers and organizations, when they are rooted in their community and they're able to use that power and use the thousands of voices to push a cause forward. But it's limited if they don't know how to maneuver within the civic and political space. So we're hoping to bring in a cohort of individuals, and eventually at the end of this cohort, we're hoping that we'll have individuals that actually run for office, individuals that are able to use the skills and the knowledge that they gain from this cohort to make change in their individual communities, and also to continue working with us to lead teams to build out new innovative ideas with common power. And to make sure that we're getting in the right people, we also put together a stipend that will be for people who traditionally wouldn't be able to take a 6 to 8 week program without getting paid. And so this kind of lowers that barrier so that they're able to be a part of this program. So those are just some of the things that are in the work. There's a lot more that goes into it that we're building out, but I'm excited to start the program and just thankful for everyone's support with it. And yeah, shout out to Larcy for the original idea and the success of Action Academies, because that's what really inspired this. And just seeing how much energy was around people learning and being a part of the political civic process. It was really good to see, but also it was a great tool to just build a community, create a network of individuals that were able to lean on our experience and learn from us, but also network with each other. So I'm excited to bring that to the CP Next community as well. I'll pass it off to Daniel.
Well, hey, thank you, man. I appreciate you as always. And shout out to MJ too. It's a pleasure. Hope you two know how fun and rewarding it is to work with both of you every day. Hey folks, my name is Daniel Caseberg. And it's so good to see everybody on. I really appreciate you hopping on this call and potentially considering supporting our work. I know it's been a long while since I've seen folks visually here after this long break, and I just hope everybody's having a great week. I want to cut right to the point. Let's talk about the CP Next Action Fund. In order to describe what the CP Next Action Fund is, I'd like to tell you a quick little story. So my final quarter of college, I was a member of a class called the Philanthropy Lab through the Law Societies and Justice program at the UW. Our class of about 25 students was gifted $50,000 by an organization that works nationally called the Philanthropy Lab. And then we were pitched by NGOs in Washington State, represented by a cohort group called Global Washington. They pitched projects and their organizations to our class of about 25 people. And we then, as students, deliberated these organizations, considered the grant proposals, and awarded grants, 5 grants to these organizations using the $50,000 that we received from this national organization. A grant of $25,000, a grant of 10, and 3 grants of $5,000. That process was incredibly rewarding for me because I was then able to represent the University of Washington at a national conference with other schools and pitch our organization that earned $25,000 to earn even more money. Really rewarding because it gave me a chance to learn a lot more about development, consider topics like sustainable investment and fundraising, work with NGOs, but really collaborate with the people in my course to talk about our values, to talk about why the things that were important to us, and really consider what dollars could do to transform organizations and in effect transform organizations. So that's where the idea for the CP Next Action Fund comes. This is a program that we think hits on all types of the mindset, the mojo, and the mobilize. We give volunteers an opportunity to interact as a community, to do some form of action. That means, as you all very well understand, that giving and financial investment is a form of action. And we also hope that it will educate all of our volunteers as well. And so we'd like to create the CP Next Action Fund as a way to convene volunteers and make some sustainable investments, not only in the Seattle community, but potentially across this nation. And so this would involve not only really investing in the community that we've already built in CP Next, but then recruiting new volunteers and people in the greater Seattle area that choose to sustainably invest and participate in a giving program that is very active and that can really create some sustainable investments that transform organizations and transform communities, therefore, that align with Common Power's values and the values that you all have. I really look forward to speaking more about this with our team and also sharing more details as soon as they're available with the volunteer community at large. But we think that this is just at its most basic level, an ability for young people to take part in doing some good. And we really do believe that young people have the ability to do good through financial investment. And so I really appreciate everybody considering supporting the CP Next Action Fund.
All right. Thank you so much, Daniel. I'm really proud to work with you and all of our Mojo colleagues, and thank you for all that you do. I do want to acknowledge the time, and I'm getting a lot of messages. So I just want to remind folks that if you do have to head out, that's totally okay. And we are recording this, so we will have it available on the website and to share so that you can continue to watch the rest of the presentations, because they're really good. We've got some really, really great people on our staff. All right. So we've got a few more to go. Again, and if you can stick with us, continue to put questions in the chat, and we're going to take them at the end. But last, but certainly not least, we're going to move into our mobilization space, doing the work, registering voters, getting them out, and doing it with our partner organizations. And for that, I'm going to pass to Kylie and to David.
Okay, Kylie, I'm going to go first, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it. All right, folks. I know, and we know, that Common Power for most folks is about voter work. And we are building out the programming that extends people who get into this process with us. That's what you're hearing about tonight. And it's going to be a centerpiece of 2021 and this organization forever. So we are going to bring people into the system, and we're going to recruit them, and we're going to work hard through education, through Action Academy, through Next Up, through PODAIR, through the Action Fund, all of this. But at the end of the day, we are an organization that gets you to the voter work. Everybody gets to the voter work. And so I'm just here to put a couple placeholders on your mind so that you can know they're coming for us, okay? So this is the electoral map for this presidential campaign. So let's just celebrate it, okay? Let's just celebrate it for a moment and appreciate that, okay? That is good stuff right there, all right? That is really good stuff. So in 2021, we're going to focus on a judge election coming up in April in Wisconsin. And we are going to work extensively, that's why it's a bigger circle, extensively in Virginia this fall. Virginia has odd year state elections, and this fall, the governor, lieutenant governor, secretary of state, attorney general are all on the ballot, as is every seat in the state house, which the Democrats currently have a 55 to 45 advantage in, having flipped it in 2019 when we were there in large numbers to help it. So we will be doing that extensively. We will have a very significant body of work in Virginia this fall, all right? This April, it'll be in Wisconsin. These pieces are gonna come. Just know they're going to be out there. There will also be special elections that we don't know about that we might engage in. In New Mexico, with Deb Haaland's elevation to the Secretary of the Interior, we might work in that special election environment for her district in New Mexico. There will be others around the country. So we'll see. But these are for sure coming. Then in 2022, we're back to a really crucial national election landscape. And here, these are all elections that we're going to be working on, okay? I'm not going to mention all of these, but there's a bunch of governor's races in here that are really meaningful. Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. New Hampshire up there in the top. Georgia, Stacey Abrams in Georgia. Arizona, there's an open seat. There's a Democrat up for re-election in Nevada. That's a crucial governor's seat. Jared Polis is up for re-election in Colorado. There are Senate seats in Nevada, Catherine Cortez Masto. In Arizona, Mark Kelly has to run again. In Colorado, Michael Bennett is going to be up. In Minnesota, Amy Klobuchar. In Wisconsin, we are going to beat Ron Johnson if he dares to run, okay? In Pennsylvania, it's an open Senate seat. In North Carolina, it's an open Senate seat. In Georgia, Reverend Raphael Warnock will have to run again, okay? We will be there. In New Hampshire, Maggie Hassan, who won in 2016 by 1,000 votes, 1,017 votes she won by in 2016 as a senator, is up for re-election. That is going to be a very difficult race, but we have a shot. There's also House races in these states that we are going to mobilize for. I don't know if you've heard of Lauren Boebert in Colorado, but we would love to defeat Lauren. Marjorie Taylor Greene in Georgia has got our attention. In Arizona, it seems like every Republican who's in Arizona is despised by their family, because half of them have their family coming out and speaking about them. Paul Gosar and Andy Biggs, we're going to try to beat them. There are a variety of House seats around the country that we're going to mobilize. Madison Cawthorn deserves to be defeated in North Carolina. Then there's also Secretary of State races and state Supreme Court races in Michigan, in Ohio, in Georgia, in North Carolina, in Arizona, in Nevada. So all of this is here. None of this is getting past us. We are going to be very mobilized, and we're going to have teams. We're going to streamline. We're going to make, we're going to tweak here and there. We're going to create them in new ways. We're going to put next generation leaders at the center of it all, but it's coming. So just want you to know all of this is on the radar for us. And so when you invest in us right now, you're helping us to prepare our leadership to lead these teams. All right, Kylie, you got it. I'm coming off screen share.
Thanks, David. Hi, everyone. My name is Kylie, and I'm so happy to be here with all of you tonight to share a little bit about myself and my new role as National Coordinator. So my CP story began a little over a year ago in November 2019, when my mom, Martha, brought me to a workshop. At the time, I had just started my second year at the University of Washington, and I'd spent most of that quarter looking for an internship opportunity. And although I was looking at some incredible organizations, I hadn't found one that really felt right for me. And that changed when I walked into Washington Hall. Like many of us, I was immediately drawn to CP's core values, especially Mojo. And you know you found something special when it wakes you up at 8:30 on a Saturday morning. I joined Common Power as a fieldwork associate in 2020. And in February, I traveled with Team North Carolina to register voters. In Charlotte, I met Belma and the rest of the You Can Vote staff who welcomed us with open arms. I loved the brick houses and the barbecue, but most importantly, I loved the people. And that wasn't something I necessarily expected, given that I was only going to be there like less than a week. And so I really started to think about what I could do if I had more time. And a week later, I returned east on CP's civic tour to South Carolina. And needless to say, experiencing the energy leading up to such a critical primary was incredible. This is my first presidential election that I got to vote in, and I had the opportunity to watch the campaigns unfold. Even going to the debate that was in the spin room, it was just absolutely life-changing. And there's so many things that I could talk about, from realizing my presence, or rather misplacement, at a minimum wage protest to shaking hands with our now president, Joe Biden. But nothing was more impactful than attending a Trump rally. After that, I really knew that I had to do more for 2020. And so I told David that I was all in. And I was humbled to receive a full-time offer to join staff through Election Day. And then suddenly the world stopped with the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. And I was terrified of the future, honestly, especially as a young person, just not sure what was going to happen. But unlike so many of my peers, I was really lucky and I got to retain my position. And once again, I knew I'd really found a special organization that was going to support me. And this past summer and autumn were absolutely incredible. I've grown as a professional by learning from mentors like Anita, and I've grown as a person through meaningful friendships I have with like my co-leads from North Carolina, Jordan, Andy, Therese, and Colleen. And throughout everything, even the most difficult days, I knew I wouldn't want to be doing anything else with anyone else. So now I'm really thrilled to make the transition to national coordinator. In this role, I'm really eager to work with Charles on our partnerships across the country, which are key to CP's mobilization. I'm also looking forward to supporting and building our teams post 2020 with a focus on amplifying next generation leaders like myself. As you all know, there's a lot of work to be done, and I'm really proud to sign on to another year of doing it here with all of you. So thank you so much for this opportunity, and let's get to work.
Yes. Thank you so much, Kylie. All right. So all of this amazing work that we've been doing, the mindset, the mojo, the mobilize, all of these amazing programs that you've been able to hear about, all of it could not be done without the help of some really incredible supporting staff. So to tell you a little bit about their work in this next bit, we've got Betty and we've got Vanna. So Betty and Vanna, I'm going to pass to you both.
Sorry, Tech. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you, Vanna.
Awesome, cool. Hey, Betty, I'll go first here. Hi, my name is Vanna. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the finance and business operations manager here at CP. I joined in mid-2020 last year during COVID, so I haven't met all of you here, and I unfortunately have yet to be on the ground in field work in a state, which I'm very, very excited to do once COVID is over and it's more safe to travel again. But in short, I'm on the back end. You don't see me much, but I am working hard with numbers and all of our financing. I take care of all of the tracking for our internal expenses and finances, and that includes the different financial entities that we had mentioned earlier with our 501c3, which helps support CP Future and Action Academy, as well as our other programs. In addition to generating and maintaining all of the internal reporting for our planning purposes for the year, I also have to submit and generate the reporting that we do to the Federal Election Committee. These are all public records, and I think it's just very it's very clarifying to see where organizations put their money, especially when they're from volunteers like yourselves. So it's very important for us to make sure that all of that is accurate and reported correctly. A lot of my work involves Google Sheets, formulas, datas, and documents. It's not very glamorous or anything like that, but I do like it a lot. I'm more of a systems and data person personally, so it kind of just fits in with my role here. I also look at all of our finances. I've had to take all of our finances from the last year, and I'm basically trying to update it so that we can track it effectively and efficiently for the next year and years to come. There's a lot of data points that we can use and a lot of programs out there that can help us generate the reports for us. So it's not quite as manual, but I do have to make and generate a system and a process so that all of our finances are recorded accurately and correctly. So that's what I do in the finance side. I also manage the business operations on the back end. I'm also looking at the systems that we use for bringing in people, contractors, paying out and appreciating our staff and personnel, all of our volunteers that come through. Usually if they're being paid, they will be contacted by me in some way. What else do I do? I'm also looking at developing an app for CP right now. This is a fieldwork app. It's a little surprise here, but I'm looking into a fieldwork app because of COVID and all of the remote work that we've had to do. It was great that we had a break, so we didn't have as much travel activity, but now that since we're looking at better hopes for travel, we're going to need support on the field and a better way to manage all of our tracking that way. Since we're having so many different people in different states doing different things, running different programs, we just need a better way to track it all. So it all comes in through me and I sort it all out. And things like that. So my role is really important. I really like working with CP because the leadership, I feel like I've been very well supported. Coming in remotely, I feel a lot of trust from the leadership as well. There are some things where I'm like, maybe I can try and do this system, or do you think this will work, or will this program work? Is it okay? And they're all for just go ahead and try it. See if it works, trial and error. If it doesn't, how can we help to make it work? Or is there anything we can do to support you in your project or program to make it work? So that's been an incredible experience. I came from several years of in corporate, and that's not the environment that is present in those environments. So it's great to be around people as well as leaders who are just trying to get and do the work for the better good of everyone. Pass to Betty.
Thank you, Hannah. Hi, I'm a little nervous, but my name is Betty. I wrote everything down, so if you see me reading, I tend to get off track when I talk, so yeah. My name is Betty, and I recently joined Common Power as a full-time marketing coordinator in December. I can't express how grateful and honored I am to have joined this community. I joined Common Power in January of 2020. And I was actually originally a contractor, and I was doing podcasting when I actually started. And my role has kind of changed a lot. But I can honestly say that I've learned a lot from each of these individuals. I'm sorry. um, I've learned that it's not just about voting every 4 years or 2 years. Democracy requires constant participation. And I also believe that it means investing in leaders for today and for the future, and helping them empower others with the information, resources, and tools that they need to be equal participants in our democracy. I work to support and amplify each of their voices, Each of these communities need to be heard, included in democracy, and have visible representation. And I truly believe that Common Power is working to build a future for all of us. Now into kind of what I do for CP. I create assets for all of them, all the flyers. I'm going to be making things for the website soon. All graphics that you see, they are made by me. I spend hours making them. But I also run CP Next's social media, and I think that that's a big part of our community. And like Wale and MJ said, for the Black and Brown communities, millennials, they are online. I think that, well, especially during a pandemic, the easiest way to reach them is online right now. And I mean, even after the pandemic, that online is where they're always at. But I think my job is basically to make our presence known, make these resources and tools and these spaces accessible to them. And yes, I'm so nervous. I'm so sorry.
You're doing a great job. You're doing great.
But
You're awesome, Betty.
thank you. This is my first time doing a speech, so bear with me. It'll get better. But basically, I engage in social listening. I I find the conversations that are happening among these communities, and I learn more about them. And basically, when I create assets or I am on social media, I am engaging with them and I am showing them how they can take action with these different initiatives and programs that each of these individuals are working to create. So I basically think that communication is going to be the foundation for the work that we are doing. So yes, thank you for listening to me.
Betty, you did amazing.
Amazing. All right, y'all. So, okay, so that is our team. Can we just, if you guys want to take off mute for a second?
Yay.
It really has been amazing, you all. I couldn't be more proud. The staff did take a break, but as you've been hearing from all of our folks, that a lot of them took this time to be thinking about how to make our organization better, how to keep us moving forward, because we know that it doesn't just stop with Inauguration Day yesterday. There's plenty more work to do, and plenty we've got to do to be able to move forward. So you've seen the staff, you've seen the work. Now is that time. Now would be the time where I'm gonna ask you all to please, if you can, take out your checkbooks, where we're gonna ask you to give and contribute that time and that treasure that David was talking about in the beginning, so that we can have the resources to make all of it happen. And if I can say, just from my own point of view, it really does mean the world to me, because yesterday, the moment that we're in now, it all took so much work. But for me personally, 2016, and probably for a lot of you, was such a pivotal year. But for me also, it changed my career direction. It put me on a path to be here in Common Power with you all. And I only get to be here today because of the resources of so many generous donors who are giving the funds to be able to support this work. So we thank you. We ask you, please, so many of you are already such generous contributors to our work. But we're asking, if there are other folks that you can bring in, or if you've just got a little bit extra that we can give, we need it right now. Oh gosh, I could get like a little bit teared up and choked up just listening to Betty. I feel it in my throat a little bit, and listening to the team, because I love you all so much. I'm going to pass it to David to drive us home here, and then we're going to go ahead with questions.
So when we started Common Power back in 2018, there were two goals. The goals were to provide an on-ramp for people to do work in our civic arena and to make it as easy as possible for you to do that. And the second goal was to build an organization that had incredible next generation leadership at the center of it. Okay. And when people ask us what makes us different than somebody else, because there are a lot of organizations that do civic engagement, voter work, registration work, petition work. What makes us different? It is that second piece. It is the investment in next generation leadership to do this work. 80% of our dollars, as Charles referenced, go to support next generation leadership through the people we hire, through our Action Academy and Next Up program this year, through the Action Fund, through Poder Común. That this is genuinely an investment in our future right here. So at our very first fundraiser that we did back in 2018, we were there and we were trying to raise $75,000 for the whole year. And this guy who was a political veteran raised his hand and said, you know, why are you here asking me for $75,000? You should be asking me for $750,000. And Charles and AJ and I, who were there, just kind of looked at each other and we're like, I don't know. Can we do that? Is that something we do? Or is that, what is that number? That number doesn't even make any sense to us. It doesn't even make any sense to us. But what I want to say to all of you is that our budget today is 1.6 million for 2021. And we have 12 full-time staff. And when you look at that staff, that's our future. And when you look at the programming that we devote and develop, that is our future. So I'm going to ask you to give as much as you can give, to stretch as much as you can stretch. We'd love to have donations now, and we also need them going forward. Okay. So I'm just going to put this up on the screen and we're going to leave it up for a bit of time. And we'll see what kinds of questions have come in that we haven't been able to address so far in the chat. But I do want to also say one last thing. You know, I see the participant numbers when we're doing Zoom, and we got up to about 150 people tonight. And I know we've run long. We're at 6:22 and we were hoping to be done by a little bit before 6 o'clock. But my God, I wouldn't for a moment ever stop our staff from sharing their thoughts and their hearts and their work. But you know what? We are still at 80% of the folks who came at the beginning of this call. And of course, people have to go off because they've got lives and things to do. We totally understand that. But we know that you're also with us. You are with us. You are. And we are with you. If you have made a donation to us in the past, please consider making another one. If you have made a pledge to us, please consider elevating either higher or extending that pledge. Okay. If you have never made a donation to us, every single dollar matters. Okay. It really matters. I just will finish here and then I'll stop and we'll see what questions are there. Charles said it. We're not on the verge of collapsing as an organization. We are not. We have a rule that we do not spend money that we do not have. That is a rule we have. We do not spend money that we don't have. And for us to maximize our impact, for us to hold the Senate, for us to hold the House, for us to win those governor's races, for us to build Next Up, expand Action Academy, to do the educational work that AJ's got going and it's rocking it, the communications work that Betty is rolling, MJ's Poder, Daniel's Action Fund, all of this, it takes the resources and it takes expanding this impact. So thank you all so very much. Really glad to have you here. We will stick around now and do some Q&A for anybody that wants to be here with us. But that's the information on your screen right now, how you donate to us. On the left, it shows you that it's all tax deductible stuff, covers our education, leadership development. And on the right, not tax deductible stuff, still covers education leadership, but it also covers our political field work. And that's obviously essential to turn in the paradigm in this country politically. So I'm going to leave this up. And Maria, are there any questions you think that we should take on that are in there?
Yeah, we've got questions. Let's see. So, they're moving. Do we have a preference how or where donations are made to best benefit CP? You want to start with that one, David, and let me take a look.
Sure. We have always strived to meet donors exactly where you are. We know that you have financial considerations that make certain kinds of donations more meaningful to you than others. Sometimes the tax deduction really matters. Sometimes it doesn't matter. Politically, you want to make the greater impact in the elections. So we have a robust enough body of programming that we can utilize C3 dollars and political PAC dollars equally. We can equally use them. That said, the most valuable money for us is in the not tax deductible category. That is simply true. That is the most valuable for us because we have complete freedom to use it however we wish. But if, for example, you would say to us, hey, look, we can make a donation of $300 if it's not tax deductible, but we could make a donation of $500 if it was tax deductible, we'd rather take it tax deductible. We would, okay? Because we've got enough programming to cover all that. But if for you it doesn't matter, we'll take the not tax deductible work. And remember, I mentioned at the beginning, a $30,000 match tonight, that number just, I know it's a high number for like to ask, but in the big picture, our budget's 1.6 million. So we're hoping to raise with that match another 30,000 tonight. So 60%, 60,000 tonight total would get us to, you know, about, what is it, about 10%? No, it's about 7% of that overall budget. That's a significant in one chunk. All right, what else we got?
All right, a number of folks are asking about giving online. And so I'm dropping in the chat right now the link to our Act Blue, and that is how you can donate online, just entering credit card information to give to our PAC, which is the not tax deductible side of that. And then there's lots of questions in as well about monthly donations. And that link online is also how you can set up monthly donations with us. We really, really appreciate those. We have so many folks who give monthly. David, what was the number that you had told me earlier about our monthly givers?
Yeah, we have grown from zero, because we of course started with zero, to we now have 53 monthly donors. 53. All right. And those make so much of a difference. Plus, once you start it, you don't even notice it coming out of your bank account. Okay. So we would love to have you do that. Maria, I want to say one thing about if you want to make a monthly donation to our tax deductible side, that they need to talk to you.
Yep, absolutely.
Right? So if you want to, on the C3, if you want to make a monthly donation, you need to talk to Maria. But the not tax deductible stuff for Act Blue, you can set up just through Act Blue.
Can I ask a question on the match? Does it make any difference? Like if we give so much a month, that totals to a certain amount a year. Will that count toward the 30,000, or should we try and give as much as we can now because the 30,000 only applies to what's immediately given? How does that work with the monthly donation?
You know what? Whoever asked, who was that asking that question?
That was Jim Applegate.
Hey, Jim. Jim, we are not a sophisticated organization in that respect. We don't have like a precedent for how we can answer that question. That's the first time that question's ever been asked of us. So I would say that what we would do is we would love to have a donation today that would be towards the match. And we will also, if you make a monthly donation now, we will count the amount that would be the annual amount for that monthly donation towards the match. All right, that sounds like a good answer. That's the best, that's what I can come up with here.
That's what other people do. So I think that's good.
Okay, all right, excellent.
Thanks, Jim. And yet I would say the same thing about the other questions I saw in the chat about the match as well. And I also want to add that Charles did mention this earlier, but I am starting something this year called Mojo Mondays, which is really just an open Zoom room, an opportunity for anybody to drop in and chat with me and hang out, or to ask some questions and stay up to date with the things that we're doing in Common Power. So those are going to be every Monday at 4 o'clock. You'll be able to find the Zoom link on our website at commonpower.org under the events tab. And I'll be there every week. So if you ever got questions, or if you want to talk through a little bit more of these programs, you can also join me then on Monday. Should be fun.
Frida Kumar has just made $1,000 donation right now. And she says, if we can get 29 more people to get us up to that at 1,000, she'll donate another 1,000. Okay? All right. And, you know, I want to say this because I'm earnestly feeling it. I don't want this to feel like we're just trying to run up these dollars. We're not. We steward these dollars and we cherish them. All right. This gets used in really earnest ways. A Betty Chipman, we can't hire a Betty Chipman without these dollars, or a Maria Abando. Okay, we can't.
Absolutely. All right, let me see if there's any more questions.
Sally's in for 1,000.
That's awesome. I also, you know, David, when you said we're not trying to run these numbers up, we don't actually fundraise like this actively. I think one of the things that I realized when we were sending out the fundraising emails is that we send out emails that are about action and about the work that we're doing. And it was really strange to some people that we were sending out a fundraising email, not in a bad way, but just in a recognition of like, we don't ask for money like most organizations that do political work. So, you know, it's this time and then maybe like a couple other times, and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy, Janice, wow.
Jacques and Polly, can you define now or tonight? I can see, yeah, come on, there you go.
Well, so if we have you know, if it's going to take a couple of days for the money to reach you, then does it still count? Or do we?
Yeah, right. Hey, again, we're not so sophisticated that we have a set answer for that. Okay. But I did actually, as we were coming into this, think like maybe we'd set a 10-day window on this, right? It's just to be like, to put a reasonable timeline for that match in there, right? So yes, yes. Thank you. Yep. This is awesome. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Teresa and Janet, Nancy, Mary and Steve, Andrea.
Charles, can I chime in really quick?
Yeah.
So I'm a little biased with my program with So this year, when the cohort completed their 12-week program, and they spent so many hours doing all the work leading up to the election, we did offer them a stipend, and it was $1,000 for them to complete everything that we had put in their face to do the work for 2020. And so as I'm seeing these $1,000 money come in, or just people who are willing to match it, all I'm thinking about are just the students I get to recruit.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Is anybody else feeling like extra emotional on staff right now? I'm like, it's amazing. It's amazing. Thank you all so much. And any other questions? We're here for you. Any other questions? We're here for you.
Yeah, programmatically. If you got questions, I mean, and our staff, if they're still able to be here, they would love to answer a couple programmatic questions.
Janet, Bob, Rose, Peter, Teresa. This is great. Martha. We've never done something like this before. I feel like we're in one of those the telethons back in the day. I don't know, Betty, if you know what a telethon is, but people used to call in live. There's telephones with cords on the end of them.
Yeah, I don't think I
Is in.
Yeah, actually.
Thank you so much, Susan and Paul. You guys do so much for us. Thank you.
I mean, it's kind of like what NPR does, right? They still do telephone fundraising. If you ever have been on any of their fund drives.
That's right. We should give out tote bags to people who are giving us money. That's a good idea. No more tote bags. You have enough, Sue? Okay.
I was still like a hat, merch department. I need a hat.
Got it.
Hey,
What else we
Charles,
got
Maria,
here?
can I?
Yeah, go ahead, Daniel.
Is that okay if I just say something really quick? I realize I'm not the person that's authorized to speak about fundraising for this organization, and so you can wave me off. But I just wanted to say to everybody, I realize giving is a super personal decision, and we just really appreciate anything. It's so inspiring to be here and see such big amounts, but we just really appreciate you pitching in for whatever you're able to, considering that there are so many worthy causes in 2021. Thank you so much to everybody that's been on. I know our numbers are going down. I need to hop off, but I really look forward to working with you all so much in the future and to see all these programs grow. So I really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Daniel.
David, this is Jim again. Speaking of fundraising strategies, are you guys, can I set you up as my Amazon Smile benefactor? Amazon Smile lets you, it would have to be your nonprofit.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Charles?
Okay, on Amazon, you can enroll in Amazon Smile, and then you designate a charitable cause. And every time you make a purchase on Amazon, it's a small amount, but it builds up a certain number of pennies, dimes, nickels, dollars from your that much goes to the organization that you've designated. I've done it for 20 years with the Southern Poverty Law Center, and I probably have given them $3,000 or $5,000, given how much I do Amazon. But I'd love to, but I think it would have to be your nonprofit arm. I don't think it could be the political. Anyway, just a thought, Amazon Smile.
That's a great thought. Larcy's actually done that in previous nonprofits she's worked on. And I don't think we even talked about the nonprofit.
Dude,
Larcy.
How could you not have brought this up to me before now? Okay.
I know. I didn't send you a message or anything. Larcy?
So right now, we do have a wonderful partnership with Fuse Washington. They've been a phenomenal fiscal sponsor for the past 2.5 years. And there's been absolutely nothing wrong with the partnership and the programming that we have had in the last 2.5 years that would constitute with like a break in contract or anything like that. But we feel really strong at this point in our growth in everything that we're doing programmatically, how we're expanding the staff, that we decided that this year we're going to create our own 501c3 arm internally here with the organization. We give kudos to Fuse for babysitting us for the past 2.5 years. But the donations that and also what we want to do with our organization internally will just benefit us so much more when we bring in the C3 arm of the organization in-house. And I'm happy to say right now that all the paperwork that we are going to get ready to submit, my team is ready to go. Our team is ready to go to get all of that started. And my goal this year is that we get that up and running close to about summer this year.
I'll put you on my Amazon Smile list.
Yeah, we'll let you know when we get set up there. That's great.
There's got to be more of those too. I know that Lyft and Uber do a similar thing, right?
Yeah, right.
And yeah, that's a great thing to think about.
Also, for future reference for some of you folks, RMDs, stock transfers, all of those things will be all created also, and are also avenues for gifting to our organization. We get lots of stock gifts. Plenty of you out there have already done that, and we've, again, it's a donation, just a revenue stream and a donation stream that goes into our programming. We'll get all of that set up. Hopefully, but in about 6 to 8 months, and get you guys to meet you guys wherever you're at, to feel like how you want to confidently give to our organization.
Okay, another wild idea. I can donate miles. I haven't traveled in so long. I'm at like a 5 million miler on Delta. You know, I mean, you know,
So
you guys travel a lot, right?
So James, I actually looked into that a few months ago. Well, before COVID, I looked into that. Oh, so before Action Academy, I was the business operations manager. I was all the back end. So I brought Vanna in so I can expand other things in this organization. So I'm happy to say that Vanna was my recruit, and she loves spreadsheets as much as I do. We looked at all of those different options. Unfortunately, some of the airlines, they have very strict regulations regarding
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to just.
Oh, no, you're good. But
I was just brainstorming.
yeah, totally. We've looked into that, but again, totally, things have changed since then. But yes, we're open to however, so open to ideas that however we can fit those gifts into the organization and stuff. We will look into it.
I'll be quiet now.
No, you're good. They're all great.
Yeah, Jim, that was good for anyone else who was thinking the same thing. Thank you for that.
Totally. I'm busy making a grilled cheese for my son right now, so I'm kind of moving around. But I want to say that a couple of you have said, hey, it'd be great if we could make donations online to the C3. When we create our C3, we'll be able to do that. Okay. Yep. Like the money this is really piling up tonight. Look, because this really, really means something. You want to know how you use your resources to make good in the world? This is one of the ways. This is a genuine investment in a more just and inclusive democracy.
Corporate matching is going to also be a part of that too. That's a great question. We're going to unlock a lot of things we couldn't do through Fuse. So yeah, that's great. Any other questions here, Maria? Oh, go ahead, Jim.
I was going to say, all those corporations that stopped all their donations to the insurrectionist Congress, they got to give that money to somebody.
That's right. Jim, we're going to hire you for $1 to be a part of our fundraising team. And you're going to go and tell them that. That's what we're going to have you do.
I know a few of them.
I'm not seeing
he's really good. I can testify on his behalf. So Jim, if they can hook you in here, go for it, you guys.
It's great.
Good to see you, Jody.
Thank you. I need to do a stock transfer. So do I talk to you, Maria?
Yeah, Jody, let me give you a call later.
Okay.
It's Jody. Jody.
Hi, Jim.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. Nice to see your face.
Oh, same here.
Yeah, always.
Hey, just a clarification. Right now, we can take matches through Fuse. So matches do come in through Fuse for us. So people have made 501c3 donations and then gotten corporate matches. We can take those. Those do come in through Fuse through our same lens. They'll be more easily done when we have our own C3, but that's available for folks. All right. Well, we're gonna, although I don't even want to, but we're gonna close up the Zoom room here in a second, unless people have any other kinds of questions at all that you'd like to ask about.
Even non-fundraising ones.
I'd like to know how much we made tonight. Can we get that through the chat?
That's a good question. I have a feeling that David's been looking on his phone or something. That's why he was like, it's coming in, but I don't know.
Like right now, Peter, I don't know how much we've made, man. I don't know.
We made the match?
No, I don't know. I don't know yet, to tell you the truth. I mean, I can't, there's a lot of people that have made, it's been happening so fast and furious.
Yeah.
We need to like, how do they do it on campaigns when the money just comes in like that? How do they keep?
They're prepared for it.
Peter, Peter, you know, that's a really good call out. You know, David's making a grilled cheese sandwich. That'll tell you exactly what you need to know about our tracking. Okay.
The most expensive
what-
grilled cheese sandwich you're ever gonna make.
I've been desperately trying to write everything down in, in the chat as fast as I can. But I don't know if I've gotten everything, Peter.
If we're at 27, we might be able to find some more.
That's good. That's a good call out, Peter.
Yeah, Maria, can you, as soon as you add it up, can you get that and then just tell us how much farther we have to go?
Okay, Maria, how about right now? Let's just stick on here. This is like election night, Charles. We're just, Maria, can you add up everything in the chat? And I'm going to add up everything that has come in through Act Blue right now, and we'll see where we're at. And Charles, you can take over and just run this thing and chat with everybody for a few minutes while we do that. Okay.
Totally. So I you know, people are here because we like each other. And so if you want some more of this community mojo, we don't have a ton of events on our website. If you've gone there under events, the next one though is Monday. It's Mojo Mondays. So Maria is going to be having that at 4 p.m. If you want to come and just hang out with folks, Maria will be there, as will a bunch of your community members. But we are cooking some other stuff for February, and AJ is hard at work at that. So you want to preview some of that stuff, AJ? Or is there
sure.
a January? Is there like a late January thing? What am I missing here?
Not unless David has a lecture in his back pocket, which is very possible at this point. But as far as February, yeah, we're going to be launching Lunch and Learn of 2021, and we'll be starting with the origins of Black History Month, which is most apt considering February is Black History Month, and if that's news to you, then surprise. And then we'll also be launching the lecture session with Dr. Terry Ann Scott. And so when you sign up for the education updates, you'll be able to get a kind of calendar of events, and those will run all the way from basically February 10th every Wednesday until March 3rd, and then take a little pause because I need to refuel, and then we start all over again in April. But Lunch and Learns will happen every single month, and then I believe in March, David has dangled a carrot in front of me by way of the Lost Cause, and so David and I will get an opportunity to do a kind of joint lecture session on the Lost Cause, the original Lost Cause after the Civil War, and then this kind of current Lost Cause situation that we've been dealing with during this most recent administration. So there's going to be definitely a lot of opportunities for folks to be able to engage as far as the education side of things, and you'll be able to kind of go at your own pace. So if you're looking for more of a structured type of programming that has many assignments, that are quick, like 10-minute things for you to do in preparation for the courses. As I've witnessed, we have a lot of educators in this space. Anita, I'm looking at you. And so to be able to kind of give some folks a little more structure around that, the courses with Dr. Scott will absolutely be a great space for that, and it'll be sequential. So we'll be moving through a timeline. And then if you kind of want a little more lax, a little less participation, the special sessions will be your jam. You'll be able to just sit and listen to people talk. And then if you also want to engage in conversation with your community, that's where Lunch and Learn will come in. So it's kind of a choose your own adventure type education piece. I wanted to try and create a way for people to be able to participate at their comfort levels, but still get a good kind of historical check-in. So I would like to, I don't have a lot of nights where I'm not reading or sleeping, but also it's all in good fun. It's all in good fun.
That's awesome. And you are planned out through November, right, for these events. So you've got these Lunch and Learns, you've got these kind of lecture things you got going on, you got these things with Dr. Scott, courses, all kinds of good stuff coming up.
Yeah, for sure. Planned out until all the way through November, because if I'm going to do something, I'm going to make sure I do it to the best of my ability. And so that, you know, as we get to know each other and folks attend these spaces, it'll be really awesome to kind of prep. And so just to let you all know, since you guys have hung out with us all the way until the end, the first lecture series with Dr. Scott is going to be called Slavery in America. And that is going to talk about how we came from the term indentured servitude all the way to what we know today as slavery. And it's a little more complex than maybe we were taught in school, if we were even taught that in school. And so Dr. Scott is going to bring her expertise in that. And we don't want it to be a daunting space. And so I'm kind of the buffer in that, because sometimes dealing with a very knowledgeable historian can be a little daunting. But again, this is going to be a safe space. There's no knowledge shaming in this. We're not expecting anybody to come in with any type of knowledge prior. We just want to create a space for people to be able to have honest conversation about history that is not given to us, especially because the Trump administration did release a 1776 situation that is vastly false. So this seems like a really good time to kind of table set what actually happened in historical times with a brilliant Black educator in Dr. Scott.
Wonderful.
AJ, could you say something about the 1776 thing? Tell us a little bit about that. And give us some thoughts. Try to hold back a little bit, okay?
Considering it is on my phone at this very moment, yes, I will give you a heads up. So essentially, the Trump administration released something called the 1776 report, and essentially it tries to rewrite history. In it, there are certain justifications for the three-fifths clause, which then said African Americans are not worth being a whole person, but they're 3/5 of a person, which then allowed certain states to be able to vote in certain ways. It also describes, it says that slavery and the owning of Black people, enslavement and bondage was justified, that it wasn't as bad as we make it seem, with a whole host of other things. I definitely recommend folks digging into that prior to possibly attending the courses with Dr. Scott, because you'll be able to see how insane it is. Basically, this report is almost a direct response to the 1619 project that was put out by the New York Times and Miss Nicole Hannah-Jones. If you haven't gotten an opportunity to read that, please at least read the first article. It's a really good way to kind of table set. But the 1776 report was coming out of the 1776 commission that Trump put together to respond. As we know, Trump was kind of upset that, very upset that schools in California were using the 1619 project as part of their curriculum to talk about enslavement in an accurate way. And so I guess the courses with Dr. Scott and I are our response, CP's response to the 1776 report, in as kind of a way as we can, because I've been fuming in the house, just pacing back and forth in my apartment as I read this. And I feel bad for my neighbors, because I've been yelling at this report for the last couple of days. So I don't know what they think I do for work.
So if you haven't gotten an opportunity to go to one of AJ's events, all the things she's talking about launching, you can sign up for the email list right now. That'll put you on the list to not only get updates about her stuff upcoming, but when Action Academy is launching Larcy's Action Academy. So if you've got some college age folks, when that cohort's ready to go, we'll email that list as well. And then David's lectures will also get notified. So that's a tab now that's live on the site, where you can just drop your email in there and you'll get notified whenever anything education is happening with CP, or the full calendar. It's on the site now. So it looks like you all are still counting. One thing I wanted to call out, Betty sent me a message and said people are asking her about merch. I want to take some of the pressure off of Betty. She said she makes all the visuals for CP. She makes all the visuals for CP Next. I own a bunch of the other visuals that she doesn't make, for largely that you've seen on CP Now and some of the merch stuff. So any delays on merch are my fault. And any solutions are probably gonna have to be mine in the short term. Betty's getting ramped up to be able to do more across the website. So in the future, in the near future, especially with more coming to my plate, Betty will be taking on a bunch of that responsibility.
Right.
Maria, David, you all ready to go?
Maria, are you set?
My gosh. So I have got 19 people in the chat that committed to giving $1,000. It's $19,000 just tonight in the chat.
Wow.
It's incredible. I'm overwhelmed. Thank you guys so much. It's funny, we did not know what to expect since we don't do this very much. When David and I were talking on the phone, it was just like, who knows? Like, some people might show up, some people might give, and this is already above and beyond what we're already thinking. And I know, David, you've probably been counting up the numbers at the Act Blue.
Yes. So I get immediate notifications when people make a donation on through Act Blue. So if I took out, and I was just guessing this because we weren't doing this systematically, but I took out all the $1,000 gifts, thinking that those were probably ones that have been committed in the chat. So everything that of that exact dollar amount, 1,000, so that I wouldn't overlap with Maria's numbers. So if you're at 19,000 and I take mine out, I'm currently at, with additional donations on my side, extensions of pledges, for example, because people have made extensions of pledges that they have. I currently am at 17,000, Maria. So, okay. So doing the math, folks, that's 36,000 right now. 36,000. Okay. That is really incredible.
Great. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank all of you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Plus that you stayed here and that you wanted to know this is so, it really matters, folks. This is not an abstract, send the money off into some void and hope that it gets used right or gets used well. We're talking about real people right here.
Right.
That's awesome. That's very, very cool. This is a great way to start the year, which officially began yesterday. So, for me, this is wonderful.
No, I never stick around for these, but dang, I'm glad I stuck around to this is awesome. Thank you all so much. I mean, the things we're gonna be able to do with this is incredible. Thank you all.
Right. Great job.
Thank you, MJ,
So we will still announce we're going to give it to 10 days. Like I said, we'll give it 10 days and let the money come to Fuse, that additional donations there, and see what else is out there. But we know we're over it right now. We're already there. And, everybody, thank you so much. But Peter, you're on my screen right now and I see the ping pong table behind you. So I'm ready to come play you, man. I'm ready to come play you. But thanks for asking us to tell you the number tonight. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The way how I'm used to it being done.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
I want to say thank you to Frida as well for kicking us off and just being an overall great supporter. Thanks, Frida.
Oh, you're very sweet. I'm here because you are here and doing such great work. And that's why we're all here. So, and we had 19 $1,000 gifts tonight, people. Who's in the other 11?
That's
Frida. Because Frida, you're going to give us another one if we get 10 more, right?
That's right. That's why everyone was staying, right? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Except I'm not.
So
All
Charles, we need to hire Jim. We need
Yeah.
to hire Frida. Okay.
That's right.
And Peter. Okay.
That's right.
All right.
I told him $1 salary though. That's what we're doing.
No, I know.
That's plenty.
Thank you, everybody.
Hey,
Thanks, Sue.
everybody.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Bye.
New Year.
Bye.
Great job, Maria.
Thank you. Happy birthday to your brother.
Great fundraising. And please tell Betty, I was the one who said merch. They know from the very beginning, I'm always asking about merch. It's like another revenue stream coming in. And you guys have like the great sayings and the great designs. And I'm just waiting for I'm trying to get a We Did It 46 hat online and they're hard to come by right now. So
So you want us to make one? Okay. All right.
Common power, little symbol on the back. I need a hat for every season.
Okay.
It's for bad hair day during COVID, man. This is what happens. But thank you. It was so good. So good to hear from all the staff. And it was it was really, really nice. I so loved hearing from the staff. It just makes me really, really happy. And AJ, we'll talk about funding the library. I think that's another project that we're going to come up with, because every historian who gets interviewed, which you eventually will be interviewed, you need to be sitting in front of books books.
I agree. She needs
Yeah,
shelves. That's the problem.
I need a
She needs
bookshelf
shelves.
first.
Yeah.
We're working on that.
So-
We're working on that. I got Gretchen on that.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Speaking of merch, Pam, we saw you recently in a picture with one of our old T-shirts. We're gonna send you some new T-shirts, so you got to give us your sizes, okay?
Yeah, Miss Pamela, you put. I think Dr. Bob reposted something on your Facebook, and you had the old common purpose shirt with the bridge, the purple one. Yeah, so we'll make sure once we get you guys the sizes, we'll make sure you guys have the most recent updated ones.
Yeah. What are your sizes? Tell me right now. We're doing it right now.
Oh wait, you got to unmute first.
Oh.
I think Dr. Bob said he's a large.
Okay.
There you go.
So Bob's a large, and I'm a small or a medium, depending on the cut.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Well,
I wear
usually an extra large.
Yeah, Bob's an extra large.
Extra large.
Okay.
Come on, Bob. You're not an extra large.
I know.
Broad shoulders.
That's right. That's the style, man. He's keeping up with the style, David. Okay.
Yeah.
People question me about that shirt all the time.
Really?
Yeah, they're like, "What does that mean?" And so I tell them.
Okay, we got to get you a new shirt. It's got the new shirt. It's got Common Power on the front, and it's got vote on the back in big
Sweet.
letters. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.